Okay. So some good, some bad. You can see I get some hoodie comfort right now. So my partner of almost 12 years cheated on me. Seems to be related to actual brain events, so apparently he's not, like, changed his sexuality and stuff too, so, like, he's not demisexual anymore, obviously. So, dealing with that. It's been a really long time since I did a vlog, whatever. I am a mess, of course. Even just today, and I've known since Halloween, so almost for 2 weeks, I broke down crying. Several times, so there's that. But I mostly internalize, and then sometimes I just break down and cry, despite internalizing it for days. So it will take me longer to process. That is bugging me. I wish not to be seen. I picked up Twitch because I'm trying to build up an income, and oh, I guess since the last vlog I haven't mentioned that I'm in a wheelchair now. Have been for months. Currently waiting for somebody to get back to me. Oh, and they found out why my weight is stuck like this, or at least one of the reasons. I don't know if it's the only reason, but apparently metabolic dysfunction is actually pretty common. They just didn't know about it before. So, like, a bunch of people that have been fat have been gaslit for years about it. That's nothing new. Thanks, medical community at large. So my doctor works out of, like, they're out of something that's kind of networked with a hospital around where I live now, and they're pretty good about, like, being on the edge of new discoveries and stuff, so I don't know if that's really made the rounds as much, but apparently I am insulin resistant, and they actually tested my insulin. So, all those people that just take insulin shots and they lose weight, well, I can't do that because my body isn't taking the insulin like it should. So, like, I've got an excessive amount in my body of insulin, but my body is not utilizing it. So, there's that. So, at least one thing that the medications did to me as a kid has been, like, pinned down so that we can actually hope to do something about it. So, kind of just this past week, actually, we found that out. And I have started a special diet to try and reduce my insulin resistance. So, hopefully in the future, it will actually work this time for losing weight, because I have tried everything over the years. Nothing works. I mean, I haven't even lost weight when I was literally starving. I just had a dietitian tell me today that I don't get enough protein because my meals are too small. Like, and I read her my biggest meals too. I was embarrassed. I thought that I was eating a lot. Apparently, I'm not. And 5 something ounces is not a lot. I even told her that sometimes my dinners get up to like 12 ounces now. Like, that's the top of it. Like, the other night it was like 11, and that was a lot for me. Usually doesn't get to that number, but it can. I mean, it's usually somewhere around like 7 to 10 ounces. It can be lower. It depends on what it is, because different foods weigh more. Um, but like, I tried to eat like a salad. for lunch, and she wanted me to, like, get more protein, so I added, like, tuna into it, and it took me 2 hours to eat it, so, it is not feasible for me to eat larger amounts of food, and if I try, it will end up, like, I won't eat for a while. It also turns out that, despite the fact that I'm not allergic to gluten, I do not have celiacs, I do have a vapid food sensitivity to it, and it has been running amok in my body for a while. So my weight isn't even fluctuating as much as it was before, and it turns out all the stuff that we were considering that was, like, daily doing this shit to my body, guess what? It was freaking, I don't know if it's wheat or gluten, because they are technically separate things, like gluten is in wheat. So basically, they're not the same thing, but cutting out one kind of means cutting out the other, in this case. So, I am on 0 sugar, no added sweeteners, except that you can't really get away with it. The dietitian wants me to have whey protein, because I'm not eating enough to get enough protein, and protein kind of helps work with fat, and they're trying to get me down so that I can get the surgeries that I need, because I need several surgeries. I need one for my gallbladder, because gallstones. And outside of an emergency situation, which already happened at some point, they won't do it, and we don't want to run into that again. So it does need to be done. And then we've got the hip replacements and all that stuff that needs to be done, and that needs to be done before they even begin to look at my spine, which is also a mess, because it turns out radiation did not just F up my hips, it F'd up my spine too, which is also affecting some things. Obviously, regardless, hip replacements will improve my quality of life overall, blah blah blah. Because there are complications that do come exclusively from the hips. But apparently some of the things that I'm experiencing are from my spine, which is terrifying. Especially since it is a combination of my hips and my spine that has landed me in a wheelchair. I would very much like all of that shit taken care of. My hope is to not end up paralyzed from the waist down. That is what that is right now. Today, as you can see, my thyroid's a little bit swollen. I don't control that. So some days it swells up, and sometimes it doesn't. Like, if I pull my face back, it's really bad. But, no. This is just normal face right now. That is an overall update. I guess if anybody finds this, I just want you to know decades of medical gaslighting. Like, I've been gaslit about my weight since I was on the stuff causing it in the first place. Hello? Hi. So anyway, where was I? Summarizing current events. Lucky is still alive and well, as is Maggie. Wheelchair. We had to go in debt for the wheelchair. We attempted to get a ramp that did not work out. Actually, I might see if he can take that back and return it and get that money back. Because it didn't work. We could try and do that, because that wasn't cheap. It was cheaper than, like, one piece would be. But it's like 2 pieces, you have to, like, align the wheel. It didn't work. It didn't work, and it was way too steep. Whenever, like, what we managed to do was too steep. So, like, it was too steep, and, like, they weren't stable. One of them actually flipped while my chair was on it, which was terrifying. I'm glad that there were two people helping me with that, but yeah. One behind me, one in front. And it was one in front that was like, oh no, we can't keep going because of this. We had to replace the wheelchair already because it is lightweight and it is from Walmart. It is not meant for the kind of heavy use that you do, like using a wheelchair every day. And it wasn't supposed to have to be used this long. So just running into, like, things on, like, the sidewalk and stuff bent the wheel it was almost all the way to, like, almost all the way on its side. So we had to do another one of those. So our credit card is a mess, and it's going to take us a while to dig out of there, and we just managed to start digging out of kiddos' medical bills, because that happened. Everything is world-ending. Okay, he's gonna try on Saturday, so we're gonna try and return that, see if we can get that back. But yeah. We tried doing that one because we couldn't afford, like, even if we had maxed out the credit card, we were not going to be able to do, like, the just one piece, up ramp. Because it's over $1,000. Our credit card limit's out at $1,000, by the way. We would have had to use both cards. And we, like, have a strict policy of not touching the second card. Because we have trouble climbing out with one. The second one is there to help our credit. It's there as something to be on our credit. Like, we don't touch it. We could be starving, and we just better not touch it, because we will not be able to pay it. And all it will do is hurt us. So we obtain it, we have it, we keep it, and we don't touch it. And then, of course, with the dietary changes, we reached the point where there was just nothing in the house that I could have. So we had to do that. And then, he's using the credit card right now to pick up the whey protein that he was calling me about, because he found what was in the cart. He didn't realize that I had done, like, all this research about it, so we still live together. I sleep on the couch. This is literally my bed now. There was also a sheet covering the back, but, yes, I know. You do not want me to disturb your resting place. There's a sheet on the bottom, and then there's a top sheet. It just wasn't put on right. I didn't do it. Okay. I was coming out here to do it, and they had already, like, started, and there wasn't any room for all three of us to be out here. They were trying to help. They did it wrong. So it's not like, in an ideal world, it matters more that the top sheet covers the back of the couch than that it overlaps the bottom. I like that it overlaps the bottom, but it needs to go far enough back that you can kind of trap it behind the couch. That comes from years of covering couches with sheets. You want to trap it between the couch and the wall. That is the best way to do it. Hi, Maggie. You're just not getting off my lap. Maggie has decided that my lap is home today, and he is not going anywhere. I have more people on TikTok than I've ever had anywhere on the internet. And I have more engagement than some people that have more people following them, which is great. I mean, I like more comments that I know, like, what they want to see. But mostly people just tell you that, oh, that's so cute. I'm just posting videos of cats. Mostly these two. But, yeah. So, cat videos. But I think on TikTok, because at first I also had videos with me on them, too. I privated those, because I was getting way too many creeps. Yeah, so many creeps. And those are just the ones that weren't filtered by TikTok. Because, I was also using the filter. Even with the filter, it was just so many creeps. Because TikTok doesn't really do what Google does with YouTube and stuff, and you actually have a fighting chance to get your stuff seen. So I have been shadow bananaed on YouTube for a very long time. People that were subscribed to me found themselves suddenly unsubscribed. People I knew that were subscribing just to kind of support me personally weren't getting notifications and were telling me about it. Like, I know that Google and YouTube have decided that they just don't like me and don't ever want my channel to get any sort of attention. And I know why, too, because a lot of the videos that I shuttered are talking about CPS corruption back in Arizona. We don't live there anymore. But, a lot of my videos are talking about that, telling stories, talking about what happened, about personal experiences with it, growing up in the system, just day-to-day grief, having to deal with stuff that they did, talking about what their attitude is, how they approach people in adulthood, talking about personal experiences, talking about people that I've talked with and their stories, talking about how it works. And the thing is, there are actually a couple commercials that will run for it that you won't find on YouTube. They ran in Arizona. And you won't find, they were on public television, and you won't find them on YouTube. Encouraging people to get into foster care, specifically to bypass adoption procedures with adoption agencies. Like, specifically with the intent to adopt. And there are people who get into it, adopt a bunch of kids, and then get out of it. And a lot of those people are the people that you find trading kids, just rehoming. Why are you trying to photobomb? Uh-huh. It's a very good thing that you're far enough back that should be fine. So, we've not had... We need to, like... He's not allowed to be on camera anymore since we ran into some things and realized some things, and we came upon information about that, basically. And about the amount of people with inappropriate thoughts of underage people who are on the internet. So that is why we have shuttered the F out of anything with anyone underage in it that we know, especially him. And until which time he understands the gravity of that, and it doesn't turn into a glorified argument such as, like, we can't even let him walk to a friend's house by himself. Because, like, he's reached the point where he realizes, like, the reason I can't go is because I would definitely accept candy from a stranger. Would definitely, get in a car with someone who offered me a ride. Those are reasons why he can't just go by himself, because not everybody who offers you a ride or a piece of candy has good intentions, and actually those are pretty classic ways to, also, it was the, do you want to pet my puppy one too? Because he was like, yes, I will pet the puppy. I'm like, no! He actually had, like, entire, like, argument. He argued about that for months. So yeah, he's not allowed to walk by himself. He's a younger teen now, but, like, we do need some trust that, like, he won't immediately get kidnapped the moment that he is left to his own devices outside the door. He's got some friends that don't live that far away. Like, they are within walking distance. As long as, usually one of them, like, comes with, like, their dad or something, and they walk him up. But, that is the current thing, with that. So, like, yeah, he's not allowed, like, to have like we need to like discuss, like hardcore discuss, like how having your like image on the internet and a social media account is actually as much, it's more responsibility than being, and like there's so much danger to it. Like it is very much talk to the people you know, but make sure it's that person. Like I've got people, like I've got like repeatedly, I've had accounts trying to impersonate my paternal grandmother, who I've discovered the past few years is alive and does want to know me, so we've been getting to know each other and talking and stuff. Um, for the past, since we discovered that, she's actually really awesome and really badass. Um, and she, yeah, just in general, I love her and I think that she's awesome, and I'm really glad that she's my grandma. Sometimes in my journal I refer to her as the good one, and my maternal grandmother is the evil one. So there is over a distinction. Even people that just know that history with me, there's not like a ton of them right now, but I'll just be like the good one or the evil one if they need clarification on which grandparent I'm talking about for grandmothers. Um, so yeah, that's a thing. Yeah, but anyway, like even just me as an adult, I've had accounts trying to spoof her, and it'll just have her picture, and there'll always be the same couple of people just falling for it every single time. They will accept it, and I will ask her, "Is this you?" I've actually reported what for impersonating her. Facebook did nothing, and that's what they were doing though. They were impersonating her on Facebook, trying to friend everybody on her friends list. This stuff makes me mad. So, yeah, I did not accept the friend request. I'm just kind of like, one of these days I should just message those two and be like, hey, that's not grandma. Um, but I barely know people on that side, so there's not like, I don't, and the people I do know, I know by like in such a abstract way, like we've never physically met. So like, I don't necessarily connect each person to each photo, and like we don't have like all the memories of childhood, so some of these people don't know who I am either, and some of these people like aren't on my friends list because like I don't personally know them. I know of some of these people, but I don't know them. So yeah, that's a thing. So I'm wondering how they would take a message from me saying, yeah, this is not her, this is a scammer. Either that or it's someone who's trying to convince them that, like, she just makes random profiles for no reason because she can't remember her password, which is totally something some people do. But she's not. She has access to her account. She is active on her account. It is one of the reasons why I've kept my Facebook. I would get rid of it if I could. I tried convincing everyone to move to Mines because it has a little bit more security. It is not a data farm. Um, but yeah, trying to get mostly elderly people and people, who just have other family who is mostly elderly people, um, to deal with something like that. Yeah, good luck. So the people that I know Chris, who aren't elderly, have elderly relatives who aren't like moving from Facebook, or they have people that like don't keep consistent accounts and need to know where to find them. There's always some reason for it, and that is the only thing that stops me. If everybody that I knew moved to another platform, or Facebook just shut down and they had to find another platform, my friends list is small enough I could contact most of them. A couple of them have, kind of inconsistent phone number situations. So, that might be an issue. But that's the only reason why it's not everyone. There are a couple family members that I've never met in person. We just kind of friended each other on Facebook. I wouldn't be as worried about that, because as long as I could find the other people, we'd find each other if we want to, or if they want to, or just be led to each other by other family. So, I could do it. Facebook disappeared. It's not indispensable, there are alternatives. It's just getting people to uproot. There is also the issue that a lot of people have taken to backing up their photos on Facebook. And I, too, have fallen into that trap before. I have my photos backed up somewhere else as well, though now, because I learned my lesson after I lost a bunch of photos of my oldest two while they were babies, before a bunch of stuff happened, and yeah, anyway, that is life's updates. It's some good, some bad. I don't want to keep talking. I need to make dinner, and then I need to arrange pillows, get everything ready so that I can stream at 8 tonight. And I'm going to try and do what I did last time, which is kind of work myself in to be propped up on, a shit ton of pillows. So that I am sitting up enough that this faces the screen in the darkness, so that I don't have to show my face at, odd angles. It also lets me still consistently do it, even whenever my face does the stupid rash thing. Because, yeah, I suspect it's going to happen, but it's not there right now. See, it is not actually normal for me to have a red rash on my face. So at present, the rash is more of a, see, the problem is now, we have figured out that it could either be an allergy, or, depending on the situation, so it's both, or my kidneys throwing a bitch fit. So, after I found out about this stuff, with the cheating, what's going on? So, immediately after I found out about the cheating, one of the things that happened was, I was throwing up, and my face lit up like a Christmas tree. I didn't go to the hospital, because it went down pretty quickly, but I have reason to believe that one of the things that's happening with my autoimmune disorder is that it is directly impacting my kidneys, and considering I have, one kidney between them at this point, it would be in my best interest if they would just take out my damn thyroid and just give me a pill instead of, to replace the thyroid hormones. Otherwise, because this is what happens, even people who don't even know that they have Hashimoto's have this happen. Some people discover that they had Hashimoto's because this happens. It can develop into cancer. And I've already had something develop into cancer because it wasn't regulating itself. And anything that can go AWOL because of stress is a problem. So yeah. I mean, extra stress, emotional stress, because I'm always stressed. I don't know what it's like not to be stressed. I have CPTSD. I have fight or flight responses going through my body at, the worst possible time every day. I have to be calm. Well, my body is just doing whatever the F all it wants. Because, PTSD is not just mental, it's in your brain. They don't necessarily know what they're looking at. You can't always see what you're, you know? I don't think they have, like, a neurological test that can, like, isolate it yet. But we know it does stuff to the body, and that's what it's doing. And if you have any training whatsoever on how to deal with that, so it involves fight or flight responses, which include temporary immune system shutdowns, which can mess up testing to do with my autoimmune disorder. So sometimes my thyroid will test normal when just recently it wasn't normal. And then it can, like, go back to being not normal. But the test can be so effing random. The way we even discovered that I had it in the first place was that I had 2 different doctors run 2 different tests for thyroid hormones, like to see where my thyroid was, up, down, where is it? And these were done within like 2 days of each other, 2 or 3 days. Like these are rapid changes in my case. One of them was high. One of them was low. And since then so there's like, in such a short span of time, it can change so rapidly. It is ridiculous. I don't think insurance is going to cover testing for that. And even if they did, the doctors are not going to do it. I've learned that the hard way because I've tried to get them to do it. The teenager is getting angry with me and would like attention. He is acting like a toddler in there, just kind of making noises. So I am going to end this entry just sort of as a, yeah, that's the general update. I mean, I still need glasses, I still have astigmatism, my body is still a dumpster fire. I'm actually in a shit ton of pain right now. Yeah. Yeah, and, oh yeah, dietitian is complaining about how much I eat, but like, it's more than I was eating before, because this diet actually, like, I don't have to deal with as much, like, extreme indigestion and, like, nausea doing this. Again, really seems like I was dealing with a really bad food insensitivity there, like, a really big one. So, yeah. I really don't know what, I don't want to know what she would say to what I was eating before. Yeah. But it does look like this may, if my weight right now is accurate, it looks like this may have slowly been creeping my weight up a little bit because of the insulin resistance. Despite not eating a, metric ton, or even the amount that a normal person is supposed to eat. So my appetite is shit. But my body is just a dumpster fire like that, and that is something that I've been told is actually remarkably common. And they just didn't know how common because they didn't know to look for it. Turns out, testing for insulin resistance. So, a bunch of people on my dad's side actually struggle with weight, so I was like, so this is supposed to be genetic. So we have like a bunch of diabetic people on the other side of the family, but not on this side. But I was like, you should get tested for insulin resistance. Everybody on that side should get tested for insulin resistance. Because, you know, there's so many people on that side of the family. They look like me. Like, on my biological father's side of the family, there are skinny bitches are far and few between. Okay, we're gonna say that. Skinny bitches exist on my mom's side though. Um, and I was not a fat child. Um, I was a chubby baby, but I was on seizure medication during that time. When I wasn't on that anymore, I was not a fat kid. I liked food. Very different from now. Um, but most kids do. That's usually pretty healthy. You want them to like food because you want them to eat so that they can grow. Um, yeah. So like my body now and my body to what it should be is probably vastly different. And I'm sure genetics makes it more difficult for me to deal with what the medication did to me because obviously those genetics are there, but I was not initially like this, nor is this a normal state of being for me. This is something that medications did to me. Maybe this could have happened to me later on in life and become a problem later on in life, but instead this started whenever I was a kid, and it didn't matter what I ate, and I was being denied food to the point where between the medication and the lack of food that I was getting at home, despite the fact that they had more than enough, I stopped growing. The scoliosis has only like lost me like an inch and a half, maybe 2 inches. No, it's lost me a good 3.5 inches at least now, because I used to be 5'3.5" at some point, or 5'3". So I've lost at least 3 inches. I am shorter now than I was at 12. Because my height before scoliosis took it down more is the height I was at 12. And I didn't have my 12-year-old growth spurt or my 16-year-old one or anything in between. I just stopped growing. They had to take out some of my teeth because my mouth was too small. And even then, like, I still got like a couple in here that aren't quite right. Like they're turned, they're way too close, jammed together. I can't floss my bottom teeth. Because if I try, it just rips through my gums. Because I have to like force it through and then blood everywhere. All it does is do more damage. It doesn't actually help. Because I can't even like rub it in there. There's like no space to do it. So yeah, that's a problem. They had to take out like 3 sets of teeth, like that grow in whenever you're like as you're growing up, because I did not have the space for them in my mouth. And they discussed taking out more teeth to make space, but then I was just never taken back to that dentist. That was probably the most helpful any dentist had ever done for me, because the other ones just kind of pulled my gums away from my teeth and created space for like the plaque to get deeper under my gums, which is a problem because that same medication also caused it to like cause plaque to harden faster and build super horrifyingly quickly. And despite knowing this and having all the information to know this, they were still dicks about it. Didn't matter how much I brushed my teeth. So every single time they would just dig deeper and deeper. So now my gums are like way too far down. I have exposed nerves. Yay for medical gaslighting. It starts early. It starts young. Anyway, I'm gonna end this entry and yeah, go make dinner. Maybe listen to something while I do it. I'm gonna try and back up my streams on here. Probably nobody will find them here unless they, like, look for me directly, and then, like, YouTube's weirdness will probably come into play. Considering your dad's off work, you need to stop hemming and hawing and just text your dad. Chris, what is the answer when you're being rude about something? Oh yeah, if you can't tell, I've, like, done all this stuff, so my hands are, like, so dry and crinkly, because, like, you can totally tell that, like, I don't live by a lotion bottle. So I've been trying to repair the skin by using lotion. Now, whatever I can get my hands on. Anyway, ending this now, thank you. If you have watched this, I hope it helps you. And is there someone else out there looking for the same answers? I hope you find them.